What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we are taking a look at the new Rika cards and actually running through a little bit of the testing in terms of some combos that they can do now. We're looking at the pure build. We're not looking at Sun Avalon just yet. There are going to be some crazy things going on there. But just keep in mind that this deck's 1 and 2 card combos actually grow immensely in terms of value. You're getting more eruptions, more follow-up, and I actually think this is a rogue like control strategy you need to keep an eye on, because legit 1 card gets you like 2 follow-ups and at least 2 interruptions. It's really, really strong. Definitely keep an eye out for it. But yeah, so we're going to take a look at here. I think I have 2 1-card combos and 2 2-card combos as well we're going to be looking at today. So let's start out with the first one. This is going to be a very simple, probably your best 1-card like play. So this is if you open exactly one of your normal summons. That's most of your starters here. So either Petal or I guess 1-for-1 or Lone Fire Blossom. I'll show you why the difference is Glamour is not this combo, because we actually use Glamour later on in this combo, but I'll show you if you hard open Glamour and it's your only play, what kind of combo you go for there. So let's start off here. We're going to obviously do basic stuff here. Normal the Petal. Search ourselves Mudon. That's very basic. Tribute the Petal. Summon Mudon. Mudon's going to search the new field spell. If you don't know exactly what this card does, once per turn if you control a Rika, it can set any Rika spell trap straight from the deck. That's just once per turn. Secondly, its other effect is also insane. Once per turn, if you would tribute a plant monster you control to activate a Rika card's effect, you contribute an opponent's monster instead. Don't forget, there's like 8 different cards in this archetype that tributes a monster. So yeah, we're just tributing our opponent's monster throughout the duel now. This card is insane. It's a +1 every turn, and we're tributing our opponent's stuff on their turn, on our turn. It's insane. Okay, so we're going to use that effect, and we're going to go ahead and set a Glamour. This is why you don't, if you open Glamour and it's your only way to an actual starter, this doesn't, you can't do this line exactly, but we're going to go Glamour. We're actually going to use that bonus effect. We're going to tribute off the Mudon to search 2. We're going to grab Primula, and we're going to grab the new girl, Rika Snow Princess. So the biggest thing here is I mentioned this like before with Rika's, is it felt like the deck wasn't good enough at taking advantage of the rank 4. The rank 4 is really powerful, but the deck wasn't built to make it early and often. And now with this new card, it's such a good extender from hand. And just literally resolving Glamour for both of these like gets you to the rank 4 immediately. Very, very good. And from hand or grave, if you control a Rika specifically, you can negate a monster effect by shuffling her back into the deck and tributing a plant on your field. Of course, don't forget about the field spell. So if we're negating something on our opponent's turn, we can tribute their monster to negate their monster. Absolutely insane. But here we go. Okay, we're going to tribute. That's going to trigger Primula, and then we're just going to summon the Snow Princess because she just jumps out of the hand for free. Make Strenna. Strenna's going to get a free add, so we're going to add the Glamour back just as a free follow-up, and then we're going to pass turn. So this is a very grind-oriented turn 1 board, where really all we're doing here is setting up the Strenna, putting Snow Princess in grave, and we're ending on a bunch of follow-up. So we have the Arrival, the field spell on field, to get us a free set next turn. We have Glamour in hand as a search next turn, and Petals coming back. So 3 follow-ups off of this turn 1 board. And don't forget, if our opponent activates a monster effect without clearing Strenna from the field, we're going to activate Snow Princess if they don't have a monster on field, potentially even tributing the Strenna to then negate the effect, and then Strenna would summon out either a Hyperiton or a Teardrop from the extra deck as an additional interruption. So essentially 2 interruptions and 3 follow-ups off of this 1-card play, and that's any like 7 of your normal summons, and I'll show you in a sec what happens if you open Glamour. So with Glamour, you have to go for a different line. We're going to go more for a traditional, like relying on the trap cards kind of line here, but it's still pretty powerful, all things considered. So we're going to start off pretty simply here, like Glamour for Petal. Of course, we're going to go normal Petal. Petal, basic stuff, grab the Mudon. Mudon tribute Petal to summon itself. Mudon's going to go ahead and search us the field spell. We're always searching the field spell unless we have it in hand, guys. Do not forget that. That is so important. I always forget in certain decks that you need to go one step before you go to the next one. This card gives you so much value, you have to get it first at all times. And then we're just going to set sheet and pass. Very simple, so much more cut and clean. It looks almost like exactly like how our combos looked before with the 1-card combos. But here's the difference. Because we have Arrival, it's another follow-up for next turn. So that's 2 follow-ups between Petal and the extra set. And we have the additional tribute. So when you really look at Sheet and you think about how this card interrupts, this card says that you contribute a plant you control to not only say a monster can't activate its effects this turn on your opponent's field, but also steal it. So essentially Widow Anchor, pseudo Widow Anchor. But because we have the field spell, we can actually tribute one of our opponent's monsters to steal the other, okay? So that is removing 2 monsters from your opponent's field, and we get to keep Mudan on the field, which isn't technically a follow, but it is a body that can translate to more pressure on the next turn anyway. So I love it. 2 interruptions with a rip 2 off your opponent's board, and this is all off of 1 card. I cannot stress that enough, that you may say, oh, John, this board isn't that crazy. What if you have 3 hand traps in your hand? What if the new build for this deck is like play a couple traps, play a couple hand traps, and between traps and hand traps, aside from what you're doing with the actual engine, you've got 6 interruptions total and multiple follow-ups. That's more what I'm focused on. That's what seems so crazy, is the value in this deck. So now we're going to move to the 2 card combos. They're going to be a little bit more thorough, but honestly not that different. You just end on like an extra follow-up, an extra interruption or 2. So here we go. Let's start out with the Strenna line. This is going to be basic. So this is if you have Mudan already, we can kind of pivot and kind of extend here with the Snowdrop. So start with Petal. Obviously grab the Snowdrop here. We're going to use Mudan here to just summon herself immediately. Same line here. Grab Arrival. Arrival. Grab Glamour. Glamour. Tribute the Mudan to go ahead and get our 2 doofuses. They're going to jump out of the hand for free pretty much. Then they're going to make Strenna. Strenna is going to go ahead and add back Mudan, but it doesn't really matter. We're not adding it back for follow-up in this hand because we have Snowdrop. At this point, we're just going to use the Snowdrop to pull them both out of the hand, but by tributing the Strenna, so that we're already going to get a Hyperiton as well. And then we're going to go ahead and use the Snowdrop to change their levels and make a Teardrop. So real quick here, the end board is honestly pretty insane because I think we have overall 4 interruptions with 2 follow-ups off of this 2 card combo. Absolutely insane. This end board really puts a lot more pressure in terms of interruption on your opponent. You have going on here, we have obviously the Hyperiton negate after tributing Strenna with the Snowdrop. So that's really good. That's a monster negate. One thing I will say with Hyperiton is I wonder if there's a way, based on the way we build this deck, if we can do this kind of line, make Hyperiton, and then activate a spell later in the combo or later in the turn. And maybe that's just deck building. You play a couple spells that are okay to be activated later on to trigger him to equip Glamour, because it feels like some high-powered spells like Lightning Storm could be really huge versus this deck. And not having a defense versus those, it could be to our detriment, but that's just a small complaint. We're still getting a ton of value. But yeah, so we have a monster negate with Hyperiton. We have a quick tribute off of Teardrop. And we don't forget, we put the Snow Princess in Grave. So that is a monster negate, plus with the field spell, tribute a monster your opponent controls to negate. So that is 4 interruptions total. And don't forget, as follow-up, we have the Petal Engrave with the Rika Arrival as well to get a free set on the next turn as well. Absolutely insane. That combo is just so much value. It's crazy. And the last thing I'm going to show you is not honestly that different, but it just goes to show you that how smooth the deck kind of flows together. Because it feels like that opening Petal with any Rika monster, you don't really want to open the level 4s, but it's not the end of the world. There are ways to make it work, especially if you have like a 3-card combo in hand. So they're the only real like clunky-ish cards for sure. But opening even 2 normal summons. So Lone Fire, Rika Petal, and to most people this would look like shit. This would look horrible, but because we have access to the Snowdrop, the deck actually makes really clean use of it. So we're going to go for Petal. Petal's going to go ahead and grab our Snowdrop. Snowdrop's going to tribute the Petal. Get out the Lone Fire. Lone Fire is going to get Mudan. We're kind of going to do the same line, but we're going to do it in a really funky way, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go Arrival set Glamour. Glamour, tributing the Mudan, has to be Mudan here, and you'll see why in a sec. Because we're going to take advantage of the fact that we summoned Mudan off of Lone Fire, which means it did not actually use its effect from hand yet this turn. So we're going to use the basic stuff with Glamour, get the 2 level 4s out. Then we're going to overlay for Strenna, and Strenna's actually going to get us an extender this time. We're going to get Mudan from Grave, and because we haven't used its effect, just tribute the Strenna. Strenna's going to get us Hyperiton, and then we're just going to do the same thing. Use use our Snowdrop to make these 2 level 8 and end on Teardrop. So same end board, by the way. You can kind of pivot in this end board to try and go for the trap play instead of these. You just end up on like a few less interruptions, but depending on the deck you're playing against, you know, if Hyperiton doesn't seem very good, like Monster Negates aren't very good, then maybe you'd want to end on something more like a Sheet, but it depends, obviously, on the matchup. But still, 4 interruptions, 2 follow-ups, and that's with you opening 2 normal summons in your deck. So bricking in this deck honestly does not happen very often at all, and I love it. It's so good. But yeah, all in all, can't really complain. I really like where this deck looks. I mean, honestly, I think this deck feels kind of like in the same realm as Exosister right now. After the first wave, both deck build packs, you looked at them and you were like, these are the oddballs out of these deck build packs. These are by far the least useful archetypes. And because Konami has finally come through with some banging support, they actually can be some really scary rogue decks. And I love that there's a handful of like scary rogue kind of control decks, more so than like crazy wombo combo rogue decks, which is really awesome. So I love to see it. Honestly, let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if there's any other play lines that you know. I messed around with a little bit of stuff with Mardell, but honestly, if you're using Mardell to like search the boss stage and end on like Har, it kind of does like the same combo that we could do before. It doesn't feel like the new cards are really allowing us to do too much different in those situations, which is fine, but it's, you know, it's just fine. That's it. It's just okay. But yeah, all in all, really, really cool. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know any other play lines that you think could be applicable to like actually how the deck might be run in its best form. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.